Hey everyone, my name is Bilaal, and I'm a current junior, third year at Stanford University. It's great to be here. I'm actually Canadian as well. I was born in Richmond Hill, and I went to Lakefield College, which is kind of around Peterborough, 3 hours or 2.5 hours north of here. So I've experienced applying to US schools as a Canadian. I started an organization when I was pretty young, which is something that I feel like gave me, or a passion that was something that was a big passion of mine as I was applying to schools that I tried to communicate in my application. And I'll take a sec to talk about that. It kind of started off when I was around 8 years old, and I remember I was at the breakfast table, and I was flipping through the newspaper to get to the comics. I really liked Dilbert. And I came across this full-page ad, and it was by UNICEF, and it talked about a hurricane that had recently devastated Haiti. There's like a list of different monetary values that could do certain things for children in Haiti. So like $5 could buy school supplies, $10 could buy a soccer ball, $20 could buy so on and so forth. And I asked my parents what they thought I could do, and they said, why don't you donate your allowance, which was $10 a week at the time. And I wanted to do a little more than donate a soccer ball, and so I ended up buying a couple of cookie boxes from my dad, who had a company selling snacks to schools at the time. And I sold them at recess, and they ended up being a pretty big hit at my school, and I sold more, and I bought more, and I sold more. Friends at my school ended up getting involved. We sold them in and around Toronto, and we ended up selling close to $5,000 worth of cookie boxes in a couple weeks. And all of these, we sold them for $5, like $5 each box, and so we had like these massive bags of just like $5 bills that we brought into the UNICEF office and put in the receptionist's desk, and she had no idea what to do. But that was my first experience with exploring my passion, which ended up being philanthropy. To date, that group of friends and I kind of formed an organization that was called Making Change, and to date we've raised close to $5 million for different causes that affect children around the world. Thank you. And it was that passion that I think that I tried to communicate that really helped me, I think, in my applications to US schools. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about why I went to the US in the first place. When I was in my last year here in grade 12, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to study in college, like not a single clue. And that was a big reason why I took a gap year, which was a great decision, but that's a whole other story. I deferred my acceptance and took a gap year, but even coming out of that gap year, I had no clue what I wanted to study. Because of my philanthropy work, I thought maybe international relations was a step in the right direction for me. But before I decided on that, I wanted to take other courses in other departments to make sure I was making the right choice. And so I took courses in biology my first quarter there, and it was interesting, but it wasn't my cup of tea. I took courses in econ my next quarter, and while that was also intriguing, it wasn't a road that I wanted to follow down. And then so finally in my last quarter of the year, we're still into trimesters, I decided to take Intro to IR, and I hated it. And so I had no idea what I wanted to do, and that was what was great about going to a school in the United States, especially Stanford, was that I was allowed to switch my major as many times as I wanted until my junior year. And so I went and I tried a couple ME courses, mechanical engineering courses, in the fall of the next year, and I still didn't like that. I ended up deciding actually just 2 months ago on product design, which is a mix of mechanical engineering and design. It's a whole thing. But I'm a junior now, and so I was able to choose that late, and I think it's super important that people who have no idea what they're doing aren't forced into pigeonholing themselves into a specific program that you have to apply into coming out of grade 12 immediately. And so I'm thankful for that. That's one of the huge reasons that I went to the United States. Making a choice and making a decision that is right for you, not in terms of just school, but in terms of program and what you're studying, getting value from your education, that was huge to me. That was incredibly important, and I'm really glad I made the decision to go to the States. Most of my friends definitely have also changed majors, so it's a very, very common thing. But going to the States has also provided me with a bunch of different opportunities. Each of the internships that I've had over the past couple summers, I went to an engineering firm in India, I went to a fintech, financial technology company in China, have been through Stanford programs. And all these schools that are here today have programs of some sort that will help you get jobs and internships in certain places. That was fantastic for me. Another thing was I'm definitely thinking about staying in the States and working in the States after I graduate. And working on campus has given me kind of gotten my foot in the door. It was great that I was able to get sponsored to get a social security number there, which makes, from my understanding, employers more willing to hire Canadians and students from abroad. one thing, just to come back to this and just to touch on it once again, is that I hope that in your application process, while you're going through high school, that you find something that you're passionate about. From my understanding of admissions officers here, who will all communicate to you, hopefully the same thing, maybe different things, but what I found was important was that people want to see that you're engaged, involved, and passionate in the communities that you exist in. So whatever it is, maybe it's philanthropy, maybe it's sports, maybe it's science, find that passion, explore that passion, and make sure you communicate that in your application. The biggest part for me in communicating that was that 500-word essay. And it's the only real part of that application that I found you could really personalize and tailor what you felt really deeply about to the people who are reading your essay. At the end of the day, you're a number of a lot of applications that are coming through, and everything that you have to offer is communicated in a few sheets of paper. So whatever it is, whatever you find interesting, whatever you find you are passionate about, exploit that, explore that, and best of luck in your application process. I'll be sitting over by the Prepskills booth if you have any questions about applying to the US as a Canadian, my experience at Stanford right now. I look forward to talking to you today, and I hope you have a great time. Thanks.